Hey, I wanted to share some information around a podcast that I listened to the other day by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it talks about change. And I thought it'd be appropriate to talk about right before we come into 2020. Also, as a side note, Joda and I will be doing a kaleidoscope meditation tomorrow at Pop Life, January 1st, 2020 at 4 o'clock. So we're both really inspired by Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. And I'm going to just quickly go through, there's about 5 steps that he talks about when creating change. And if anyone is interested, I'll either post a link to the podcast or I'll share the information so you can get kind of the whole picture. So the first thing that he talks about is taking time to disconnect from the world. So, time in nature, time alone in meditation, or time reading, or whatever you like to do that is a little bit more laid back, or you unplug from electronics would be a really good place to start. He talks about making sure you're connected with your breath and focusing on what's happening right now. So a lot of the times when we're dealing with, let's say, anxiety, we're worried about what's going to be happening. We have no idea, but sometimes we expect worst case scenario. Or we're depressed, we're considering what happened before, where we went wrong, just our regrets. And so it's really about being right here, right now. That's where you can begin to change things, or at least change the momentum of life. And if you're ever angry or afraid or overwhelmed, if you just take some breaths, and I know some people are like, I can't do that, or I can't focus, but just practicing that, if you can just do that and breathe, then that'll at least create some space between whatever's happening to you. 3, he says, ask yourself how you can be defined by the visions of the future instead of the past. What do I want? So instead of thinking and just rehashing what you didn't do, what you don't have, what you're lacking, it's what is it that I want? And envisioning that and really getting clear around that. What do I want? A lot of the teachers that I find that have interesting work talk a lot about feelings, not necessarily about things like I want to do this or that, it can be helpful, but it's more about what do you want to feel? Do you want to feel free? Do you want to feel peaceful? Do you want to have fun? So it's really focusing on the actual emotion linked to whatever it is that you want. 3, actually this is still part of 3. So deciding on the emotions that you want to feel, and what you're doing is you're teaching your body how these new emotions feel. So a lot of the times we actually get stuck in fear, and even though we don't want to experience that, our bodies are literally addicted to that. So it's basically creating more peace in the body, bringing the body to a state of more harmony. So it's thinking about how you want to feel and then practicing feeling that. The law of attraction says that you basically have to be at that vibration or frequency of what you want. So if you, let's say, want more love in your life, you yourself have to embody that. You have to have self-love. Or if you want to create more wealth, you have to think and act and behave in a way that you already have what you want. That's how it's almost like turning the radio dial, as they say. You have to turn the dial to that specific frequency. Step 4 is rehearse in your mind who you're going to be when you open your eyes, the things you'll have to do, choices to be made, steps needed to be taken, review again and again. So again, you're reviewing what it is that you want, you're visualizing that. Then you're thinking about what are some of the things that I can actually do? What choices have to be made for me to start to create that? So it's not necessarily having every step, but it's thinking about the small things that you can do to begin to bring those things in. So reviewing that again and again, and a lot of this is trial and error. It's doing what we know how to do and then coming back and assessing what worked and what didn't. Number 5 is you can't go into the future holding on to the past. Decide what thoughts you can't bring to your future. Write those things down. So a lot of this is you're going to be doing this continuously. You're going to be being the observer of your thoughts. That's why being in the present is important, so you can begin to observe that, so that if you notice these limiting thoughts, like basically think these things always happen to me, or every time I get some money, I have to spend it somewhere. So it's being really careful and really observant of what you think, so that when you notice them, you can begin to jot those things down. So any thoughts or beliefs that you have that will keep you from what you want to write those down so that you can bring attention to them, so that if you start to do that, you'll be able to catch yourself. So like writing things down, like I can't, it's too hard, I'll start tomorrow, blaming someone else. So decide what behaviors and actions have to change. Do you complain? Do you blame? Do you feel sorry for yourself? What emotions no longer belong in your future? So again, these are things that are not going to happen all at once, but these are things that you want to begin to take record of. It's like doing a lot of self-inventory. So he says, do this every single day. Your personality creates your reality. Your personality is made up of how you think, act, and feel. Change this, and then you change your life. So these things they're practicing these things. So anyway, these are just kind of my notes that I took during the podcast, and I've also added in some things that I've learned and just some stuff that I've been doing. Doing a lot of correction in the mind. So if you do catch yourself thinking a certain way that's self-defeating, or that is not aligned with what you want, it's saying a mantra or affirmation right in that moment, and it has to be something that you believe that you can feel. So for example, for self-love, instead of saying I love myself, which we don't believe that really, right? If we're in that case, it's I'm learning to love myself more and more each moment, or more and more each day. So when you're trying to create these patterns or these change in patterns, it's creating statements or affirmation or mantras that you can say to counteract those beliefs, and doing it repeatedly will help create the change. So anyway, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he is amazing. You can, there's some of his books like You Are the Placebo, Becoming Supernatural. He does workshops everywhere. I actually want to go to one. So I hope this helps. Do some research around this, and maybe that'll help to create a more streamlined plan as you go into 2020. So I wish you guys many blessings. Have fun tonight and be safe. Peace.